The Galactic Military Academy's survival training program had been considered adequate for 3 centuries. Officers from across the galaxy learned to operate in space, handle equipment failures, and maintain discipline under pressure. The curriculum was thorough, tested, and had produced competent leaders for countless campaigns. Then the Academy admitted its first class of Deathworlder Cadets, and discovered that everything they thought they knew about survival was merely the basics. Commander Zixthra of the Altarian Defense Corps stood at the edge of the Academy's most challenging environment simulator, a frozen wasteland designed to replicate the harshest conditions any civilized species might encounter. The temperature was a brutal -20 degrees Celsius, with wind speeds reaching 40 kilometers per hour. Most cadets required full environmental suits just to survive the initial exposure. Beside her stood Cadet Jake Morrison from Earth, wearing nothing but standard-issue fatigues and looking mildly disappointed.
"This is your idea of extreme cold?"
Jake asked, his breath forming small clouds in the frigid air.
"It's barely winter camping weather."
Commander Zixthra's translator struggled with the concept. Winter camping implied voluntary exposure to these conditions for recreation.
"Cadet Morrison, the temperature is well below the survival threshold for most galactic species."
Jake nodded thoughtfully, then did something that made the observing officers gasp in horror. He removed his jacket entirely.
"Right, you wanted tips on cold weather survival. First lesson, your body generates more heat than you think. Over-insulation actually makes you weaker."
Within the first hour, the human cadets had completely revolutionized the Academy's understanding of environmental adaptation. While the alien officers shivered in their climate-controlled suits, the Deathworlders demonstrated techniques that seemed to border on biological impossibility. Cadet Maria Santos from Earth showed a group of crystalline collective officers how to build shelter using nothing but ice and body heat.
"The key is understanding that your environment isn't trying to kill you,"
she explained, while effortlessly shaping blocks of frozen water.
"It's just indifferent. Work with it instead of against it."
The crystalline beings, whose homeworld maintained a constant temperature within 2 degrees, watched in fascination as Maria created a structure that was actually warmer inside than the ambient air temperature. Meanwhile, Cadet David Chun was teaching a squad of Zephyrian Windriders about water procurement in hostile environments.
"Never eat snow directly,"
he instructed, demonstrating a technique for melting ice efficiently.
"It lowers your core temperature and wastes energy your body needs for heating."
The Zephyrians, who had evolved in gas giant atmospheres where water existed only as vapor, found themselves frantically taking notes on concepts they'd never needed to consider. But it was during the emergency medical training that the true scope of human adaptability became clear. When Cadet Morrison accidentally cut his hand on a sharp piece of ice, instead of reporting to medical, he simply cleaned the wound with snow and wrapped it with a strip torn from his shirt.
"That's it?"
asked Lieutenant Velkos, whose species required immediate medical intervention for any breach of their delicate skin.
"No sterilization protocols? No healing gel?"
Jake shrugged.
"It's just a scratch. My immune system will handle any infection, and the cut will seal itself in a day or 2.
He flexed his bandaged hand to demonstrate.
"Humans heal pretty fast. Comes from living on a planet that's constantly trying to damage us."
By the end of the week, the Academy had completely restructured their survival program. The human cadets weren't just students anymore. They were instructors, teaching battle-hardened officers techniques that turned lethal environments into mere inconveniences. Captain Mordun of the Vrexian Imperial Guard, a veteran of 12 campaigns, found himself learning how to navigate by star patterns from an 18-year-old human who treated the skill as casually as reading a street sign.
"On Earth, we call this basic outdoor education,"
explained Cadet Lisa Park, identifying constellations invisible to most alien visual spectrums.
"Every kid learns this in school.
The final evaluation took place in the Academy's Ultimate Challenge, a multi-environment course that combined extreme cold, radiation exposure, and equipment failure scenarios. The human cadets not only passed, but improved their times by helping their struggling alien squadmates through sections that would have been impossible alone. Commander Zixteroff filed her report with growing amazement. The Deathworlders hadn't just survived the Academy's most challenging conditions. They had thrived, adapted, and turned survival training into what they casually referred to as
a good workout.
The galaxy's military academies would never look at extreme conditions training the same way again. And somewhere in the Academy's archives, a new course catalog entry appeared.
Advanced Survival Techniques, Deathworld Methods for Extreme Environment Operations.
Instructor qualifications required. Must be from a Class 10 Deathworld or higher.